Okay, so it's time to start reassembling one of these with a new tweeter, and then I can measure it and see if there's any adjustments we need to make for our new tweeter. But yeah, hopefully all is going to be good. So I'm still going to have to probably put another couple of coats of oil on this because we took the veneer right back down to a bare veneer, so it's quite thirsty. So yeah, probably a few more coats, but yeah, let's get the crossover back in first. So we've got these brass nuts to go on the back. I'm just going to give those a bit of a clean up because they're a bit grubby. So the only way you can connect to these is with banana plugs. You can't wrap a wire around them, there's no wire nuts or anything, and also you need banana plug jumpers as well to go across those. So I will probably make a pair of those up for Pete, because I doubt he's got them. I don't know, he's probably not going to use them by wired. So yeah, just to make things easier. Right, so we've got our cables here for our woofer, our cables here for our HF, our tweeter. Right, so each speaker had 3 rolls of polyfill, 2 of which are the same, and one is a bit smaller, which was up by the tweeter. And these were literally, sorry, the smaller one was down by the port, and these are literally just stuffed in there. So I'm going to just lay them out a little bit, I think. Get them around the side and that as well. And then we had a bit in the back there. The cat's meowing at me outside. Hang on a minute. Right, so I think first thing I want to do is get a new gasket made up for this. And then we can get that tweeter in, tin up our cables and get those connected. Right, new felt gasket in. So let's get these tinned up and soldered on. These are pretty large wires, so we need to be a bit careful with the amount of heat that we introduce into this, but there's a little trick to doing that. Right, so tin up the connections on the tweeter. And then what I'm going to do is get the wire hot, and then with the iron on the wire, when the solder on the wire is melted, just introduce it and let go. And that way we hardly transfer any heat into the actual tweeter itself, and we get a good joint. So same with the negative, heat up the solder on the wire and then just dab it onto the connection and let go. Right, so there we go, nicely soldered on. So now we can put our new tweeter in. Okay, let's screw that down. Let's find one of the screw holes first. That's it about there. I'm not going to tighten it up all the way yet, because we've pre-drilled these and of a decent size. It's no effort to get these in, so we're not going to split the MDF or anything stupid like that. Not tightening them all the way down yet. Perfect. Yep. Good, good, good. So I'm just going to nip these down at the moment. Okay. Tweeter is in. Nice. Right. Same with the woofer. So again, heat up the cable, let the solder melt, push it onto the terminal and let go. Lovely. That way we get a really nice connection. Don't forget the gasket. There we go. Okay, so the woofer's in. So the last thing we got to do is put on the rubber ring that goes around this, but I'm just going to go over that lightly with some conditioner. Right. There's a little groove on the inside that this sits in. And it sort of just pops into place. There we go. Lovely jubbly. Right, so that one's back together. So what I'm going to do now is take it off into the office, set up my little measurement space, measure it and see what happens, and then see if we have to do any adjustments to integrate this. So what I'll do, I'll put up the measurements shortly, and if we have to do any more, we'll be back here. If not, we'll have a quick conclusion. Right, so these little Tukans are all finished. New tweet has gone back in there, no crossover adjustments at all. So yeah, it is basically a direct swap. When as I mentioned in the first video, when I originally measured these and saw the characteristics of the original tweeter, and knowing these tweeters from the ProAct tablets and a few others, and kind of had a feeling they would work well. I mean, now they measure better than they did originally. The little dip that we had around 5K has lifted up, and the measurements are fantastic. In fact, if you listen to these more on woofer axis, I mean, they are ruler flat, they really are. And yeah, they're really impressive, and the phase relationship between the drivers when you're just listening slightly lower is amazing. And I've come to learn that the phase relationship between the drivers is quite important. It's one of the things our hearing is quite sensitive to. So it's not just about getting a good frequency response. Everything else, phase relationship's quite important. The spectral decay, distortion, all of these measurements are important. Obviously the ultimate measurement is your ears, and I'm pretty sure these are going to sound fantastic, so I'm going to set them up over the weekend and have a listen. But yeah, otherwise they are done. They've had one coat of oil. I think they'll probably need a couple more. The wood was really thirsty. They've gotten damp, I've noticed, and there's some sun bleaching as well around the edges, which is a bit of a bum. But yeah, I think with a few more coats of oil that will straighten up. Woofers have turned out well. This one on the dust cap is still a bit pitted, but they're the same colour now. They don't have all these horrible white creases in them. Rather than risk damaging these woofers, I would leave them as is. This one is really good now. Perhaps positioning in the room where this one isn't as noticeable. But yeah, I don't think I'd be particularly bothered. There are covers for these. I don't have them. I think they were like a cloth that went round and then a rubber you pushed in round the edge. I can't remember. But yeah, really good. So really pleased with sonically how they've turned out. Cosmetically, they're looking good. So yeah, I'm going to call them done. Right, thanks for watching this one. Catch you all soon.